If there's one thing I like about 2012, or at least the latter half of 2012, is that you can get an awesome device with great specs for between $50 and $100. You don't have to spend $200 any longer unless you just want the highest end device on the market. How's it going, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and we're really seeing some awesome devices at the $50 price point and the $100 price point. Case in point, the Nokia Lumia 920 for $100, and now on AT&T, the HTC One VX for $50. 2-year contract, $50, but you're getting a nice device with a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 CPU, a 5-megapixel camera, 4G LTE connectivity, and Android 4.0. Let's take a look at it in the full unboxing, but first, special thanks to our partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like the One VX and more for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. When you walk into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working whether you get this, or the Galaxy S3, or the Note 2, or the Lumia 920. You'll walk out with your contacts set up, your web ready to go, and your camera settings exactly how you like them, thanks to Best Buy Mobile's Walkout Working program. Let's take a look. One VX. Is this the ultimate device to get? We'll find out, starting right now. After a few days of delays, the HTC One VX is finally in the PhoneDog office. It's a nice device. It's available at AT&T now for $49.99 with a 2-year agreement, so price point is nice. It's got some nice specifications as well, so if you want an Android device all around that's nice, it's built well, and if you're an HTC fan, that's even better, but it's built well for $50. This is going to be a nice device for you, though admittedly, I keep wanting to call this the HTC, what is it, 15? No, that's not right. 5, Roman numeral V is 5, and then 10. So I guess like the 1.5. Every time I see VX, I think of Roman numerals, and it kind of throws me off, but that's definitely a minor thing in the bigger picture here with a mobile device. $49.99, packing some nice specifications, and yeah, it's not going to match the One X Plus or the Galaxy S3, as you wouldn't expect it to, being $49.99, but still, it brings some nice specs to the table. It's got a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 CPU, a 4.5-inch QHD display, 960 by 540 pixels. The back does come off to reveal a micro SD card slot and, of course, a micro SIM card slot, but the battery is non-removable. So don't let that battery door, this kind of back cover, fool you. The battery, which is 1,810 milliamp hours, is non-removable. 4G LTE connectivity on this device, 8 gigabytes of internal storage, expandable up to 32 gigabytes thanks to the micro SD card slot, and like I said, 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor. So kind of similar in a lot of ways to the HTC One S, if you will. Maybe a bit bigger display, 4.3 as opposed to 4.5 on this device. So bigger display, the processor isn't quite as robust. It's a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 CPU, and then on the back you have a 5-megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording. Out of the box you get the typical HTC stuff. You do get Beats audio on this as well, but you get the AC adapter module and a HTC's cornstarch bag here, and pull that out, a white one this time around, to complement the white back on the device itself. And then over here, typical USB cable, again cornstarch, biodegradable bags, which is nice. You get safety and regulatory guides and a HTC products information, limited warranty information on HTC's products. Welcome to AT&T on the box. We're going to move this to the side so you can take a look at the device itself, and of course you get a quick start guide out of the box. So here we go. Hey, ooh, got some text messages already. I love review units that come with text messages. Some of my favorites. So you know what? Device-wise, specs-wise, not the highest spec device. It's got a 4.5-inch display. I think this is a great sweet spot for a lot of people. I kind of think 4.3 to 4.5 is still kind of that median sweet spot for a lot of folks that don't want a 5-inch display like the Droid DNA, or perhaps a 5.5-inch display like the Galaxy Note 2, but they want something that's big enough where they can consume media, internet, browse the web, text message, and not have to worry about a tiny display like the 3.5-inch display on the iPhone 4 and on the iPhone 4S. So it's not an HD display, though. It is a QHD display, and like I said, 5-megapixel camera. It's not going to wow you in terms of specs by any means, but it's really a well-built device, and to me, when I look at build quality, $50, this is really nice from a build quality perspective. It's packing Android 4.0 with HTC Sense version 4, so juxtapose this to the One X Plus, which is Android 4.1, also known as Jelly Bean, with HTC Sense 4 Plus. So you're seeing kind of an older version. This is the version that came out on the One S, the One X, when we saw it at Mobile World Congress earlier in the year. So settings here, typical look and feel. You've seen this before. Personalization options. Out of the box, you get some skins, some wallpaper, some lock screen styles as well. There's the productivity lock screen wallpaper, or lock screen style rather. I can turn that on, and then when I go off and back on, you can see I've got a text message from Hiya Shakem. This is Jenny. So I guess the message is actually from Jenny. But Wi-Fi network's available. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Click that off. and get that back into business. Make sure there's no notifications like on the Verizon devices that stay at the top of the actual display itself. But really a well-built device with a volume rocker on the right side, your micro USB charging port at the bottom, nothing on this side, 3.5mm headphone jack up top with your power button. So kind of an HTC typical look and feel that you would expect, but I like the metal around the sides. It really gives it a premium look. And again, keeping in mind this thing is $49.99 with a 2-year agreement, you really can't beat it on AT&T. And I like 4G LTE as much as everybody else. So for $50, you're getting a decently spec'd Android device that really fits well in the hand. And I like the fact that they made the battery a little bit bigger. So it's a 1,810 milliamp hour battery, smaller display that's not HD, 5-megapixel camera, and of course a lower clock speed processor. So my assumption here, and we'll wait till a full review, but my assumption just coming out of the gate with this device is that battery life is going to be better all around than the HTC One X. So if you had the One X, maybe you had a friend that had it, and it was a little bit frustrating on the battery life front, this could be a better device for you or for them or for whoever this holiday season kind of going into 2013. AT&T logo up top, although you don't get the AT&T text anymore, and you'll see AT&T, let me bring this up closer to the camera so you can take a look. Code scanner, family map, AT&T locker, navigator ready to go, device help, FM radio, which is nice, live TV, my AT&T, all the AT&T stuff out of the box that you would expect. YP mobile, you get of course Wi-Fi hotspot and more. So we'll go into the messaging here, and you know what, we're going to respond back. Apparently I'm Shakem. This is Jenny. So let's say I'm just Jenny from the block. And that's what, actually, you know what, the Quick Brown Fox likes you. How's that? And of course, portrait to landscape transitions. Despite having a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor, kind of think of this in the same realm maybe as the Droid Incredible 4G LTE when it came out on Verizon, kind of an offshoot of the One series, although this is officially branded as a One series device. That said, HTC's made a commitment, or at least they made a commitment earlier in the year, not to really kind of push the One devices past a certain point. So they had the One X, the One S, and the One V, and they said, you know what, we're not going to really go past this. We're going to keep the One line a very clean line. Then we saw a bunch of different devices. The Droid Incredible 4G LTE, the Droid DNA. All these devices are kind of based on the One line. The One VX, which actually has the One branding in the title. And I have to wonder, you know, what's HTC doing here? You know, they kind of committed to sticking to a few devices. They're branching it out. Are they going back on that? Do they see some retail carrier opportunities here? I don't know what the case is, but speculate for yourself. But it is kind of frustrating when you purchased a One X thinking, okay, HTC said they weren't going to make a ton of devices. Then you see the One X Plus, the One VX, the Droid DNA, the Droid Incredible 4G LTE, the Evo 4G LTE, and you're like, wait a second, what are they doing here, releasing these incremental updates? That said, it could be a good business model. I'm just saying earlier in the year they said they weren't going to do that. So it depends on whether you get frustrated by that kind of thing or you don't care. If you don't care, I guess you don't care. But you got Sense 4 here, Android 4.0. Down to the bottom, you've got your capacitive buttons, back, home, and then recent applications, which you can configure to double up in settings as a menu button. So I'll go into display gestures and buttons. I can go down here to recent apps. You know what? We'll press it for menu, press and hold for recent applications. So when I'm messaging now, I can press it once and it brings up my menu, press and hold, and it brings up recent applications. Let's take a look at the internet as well before we sign off, and we'll take a look at phonedog.com. 4G LTE here. I'm in the Dallas metro area, and so obviously 4G LTE speeds, given this is a legacy AT&T area, they continue to be very good. Portrait to landscape, as fast as you'd expect it to be. Really no lag on these Android devices these days that are coming out with a dual-core, or better yet, a quad-core processor, and pinch to zoom is incredibly responsive as well. Keep it locked on phonedog.com for the full review of the One VX. Don't get me wrong, you've got a ton of choices this holiday season as we go into the new year. 2013, just before CES, a lot of different choices on the mobile market. You got this, you got the Lumia series, you got the One X Plus, you got the Galaxy S3, the Galaxy Note 2, a ton of different high-end and mid-range Android phones to choose from. It's going to be tough. We'll tell you more in the review as to whether this is a good device to get or not. Follow me on Twitter. PhoneDog_Aaron was my old handle. My new handle is Aaron C. Baker. Be sure to follow Taylor as well, because I am leaving at the end of the month, and I can't wait to see what Taylor has in store for 2013. His is PhoneDog_Taylor. Ask either of us any questions you have. I'd love to answer those, and I'm sure he would as well. Hit us up as well. PhoneDog on Facebook at facebook.com/PhoneDog. Stay tuned for the full review on the One VX on PhoneDog.com. And as always, we'll see you next time.